Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Bull City Hangout 614. I'm Pat Murray. I publish the Durham Skywriter. That's Durham's online community paper, which you can check out in its entirety at durhamskywriter.com. Now, with Bull City Hangout, basically, I just tell you what's happening today in Durham as far as what I know and items taken from the Durham Skywriter online community paper. So, I invite you to click on that Facebook. Go to the Facebook side. If you're on YouTube right now and you want to be on the show, I do this every day at noon, Saturdays at 10. I always provide a link, but only on the Facebook side. So you can come on the air and promote yourself or your business. I do have to tell you that I do have a special guest today. So today might not be the day to join me, but just stay tuned because we're going to be talking about music with a very, very special guest right after I make my announcements. So let me get started with my announcements. Let's start out with the WORD page. That is the government and nonprofit information page. I do like to point out that there are some really super helpful programs that you can check out. Programs and services. They are offered by local nonprofits such as Meals on Wheels, etc. Also, the City of Durham and Durham County. So just check them out at your convenience. You'd be surprised at the help that you can get. Okay. Now, the Durham County libraries are all open until 8, except for Bragtown. Bragtown is only open until 6 this evening. Let's see what's on the docket for Durham Tech Small Business Center and other community colleges that have these free, wonderful webinars that are available for entrepreneurs and people who want to start their own businesses. So let's see what's on the docket for today. Let's see. So from 4 until 6, there's going to be a free class called 53 Ideas Business Model Canvas. That sounds really good. Here's another one from 6 until 8, Creating Your Brand, something you've got to do if you start your own business. And then here's another one from 6:30 until 7:30, Finding Your Customer and Creating a Marketing Plan. Another good one. And then early tomorrow afternoon, they're going to have one split test everything with Google Optimize to find the best results for your small business. I'll remind you about that one tomorrow. That one starts at 2 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, let's see. Let's scroll down to SCORE. I think SCORE has something going on. SCORE is the Service Corps of Retired Executives. They have mentors, free webinars. They're really great. So SCORE has something going on today, a free class at 1 o'clock called Google Business Profile, how to rank high on Google local search results. So this is a super, super important thing you've got to do if you're running a local business. You definitely want to show up first, and you want to really, in fact, if you go to, I won't go on because I have a guest waiting. Just take the class. You're going to learn an awful lot. Starts at 1 o'clock today. Okay. Let's see. Actually, I want to point out something. Now, you might know about the Neighbor Goodies page, little short stories, just the short articles of positivity, things happening in the area. So I have a new sub page. Now, as you know, I tell you what's happening in health, and then I tell you to click on the blue button for the support group information. Same deal with Neighbor Goodies. So there is a little sub page, you see there, light green, where it says looking for work. You click on that, and I have all of these resources for people who are looking for jobs. So, and soon I will be adding such information as resume tips, etc. So if you'd like to be interviewed, if you have some information on how to put together a resume, that sort of thing, contact me and let's talk. Okay, now let's go to the To Your Health page, where I have your COVID-19 test and vaccine updates. Let's see where we could get tested for free today. With today being Tuesday, let's see, we can go to Fidelity Investments, 35 Davis Drive until 4:30. Also, El Centro Hispano, Lakewood Shopping Center, 2000 Chapel Hill Road. That one is until 5:30. That one is a drive-through. Let me grab some water real quick. And let's see. Oh, let's scroll up to NAMI. NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. They're going to have a support group meeting today. It's called the NAMI Connection Recovery Support Group. It's a free peer-led support group for those. You have to be at least 18 and up. For those who are living with a mental illness, talking over things, just straightening some things out. It's like a rap session, so to speak. It's an old-fashioned term, but it is online, and it's from 7:30 until 9 o'clock this evening. Okay, and what else? Oh, today's the first day of NamiCon. That's right. NamiCon starts today. It's today through Thursday. NamiCon 2022, Together for Mental Health. This is their annual, this is going to be an online conference. So filmmaker Ken Burns, he's going to be showing excerpts from his new documentary, Hiding in Plain Sight, Youth Mental Illness. It's going to premiere in its entirety on PBS later this month. Also, 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗟, she is an actor and a mental health advocate. She's like the main speaker. They're going to have all of these workshops, all kinds of workshops dealing with mental health, mental illness. So they're going to have 5 tracks centered around mental health research and treatment. So it starts today and goes through Thursday. Tickets are $10 for students and peers, $15 for NAMI members, and $25 for non-members. I do have the link so you can download the full schedule and also get your ticket. All right. Also on the health page, HELP is today because it's Tuesday. HELP stands for the Health Equipment Loan Program. They're open on Tuesdays from 10 until 2, Fridays 1 to 5, where you can donate items you no longer need, like wheelchairs, anything dealing with mobility, and to help people who have been injured, come out of the hospital recently, elderly, whatever. If you need these items, they are sanitized, repaired as necessary. So if you need something like a wheelchair, knee scooter, whatever, that's the place to go. So definitely check out the Health Equipment Loan Program. It's run by Durham County. Okay, now let's click on the big blue button at the top of the health page and go to the health events page and see what's new. Let's see, today is the 14th. Okay, so today, oh yeah, Durham County Department of Public Health's Public Health Nursing Job Fair. The last day is today. It started yesterday, so it's today's the last day, 4:30 to 6:30. If you always wanted to be a public health nurse in general, just check out this job fair. You can actually click on the link that I provide and see what jobs are open. And then you can just go there and find out about all the different places that nurses work, like schools, etc. And I also have the email addresses of different people who are specializing in different areas of nursing. So if you have any questions, you can email them and ask them questions. But anyway, you can learn all about the benefit packages. They have medical, of course, dental, and vision insurance, retirement benefits, up to 12 weeks of paid parental leave. Some positions are paying $6,000 sign-on bonus. Merry Christmas, happy holidays. That's what I'm talking about. So you might want to check this out. If you want to be a nurse, again, it's from 4:30 until 6:30. And this is at the main library. It's on the 3rd floor in conference room 3214. So read about this on the health page. Click on the big blue button. And I've also listed it on the calendar of events page. Okay, let's see what else is happening. Let's see. I thought there was something else. Yes, the breast and GYN cancer support group meeting is online today from 5:30 until 7. It's run by Duke. And also the younger onset support group. That's for those with early onset Alzheimer's and their family members can talk about things, get some tips on care, etc. That's going to be this evening online from 7 until 8:30. That's also run by Duke. Tomorrow at noon, the Daughters Concerned for Aging Relative Support Group, they'll be meeting online. And you don't literally have to be a daughter, just someone caring for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia. Okay, now let's go to the senior page, Senior Scope. Let's go there. And Senior Pharmacist has this huge article, and this is only part 1. Apparently, there are some misunderstandings about how Medicare works. So there's this gigantic article. There it is right there. You can click on it and expand it and read it. It's called The Dirty Dozen, Medicare Misunderstandings and Musings. This is installment number 1. So I think The second one will come later today, I believe, or tomorrow. So just read about that. It's on the senior page and it's offered by Senior Pharmacist. Okay, Durham Center for Senior Life, I think they have a workshop today. Let's see what that is. The OATS, that stands for the Older Adults Technology Services. They have free classes in there. I don't even know if you realize the Durham Center for Senior Life has a really nifty computer lab. So they're going to have these classes. Today's class is how to spot fake news. It's from 1 until 2:15. See if you can call and get in. I hope it's not too late to get in, but that sounds like a really great class to take, how to spot fake news. Very important. Okay, and now let's go to the legal page and see what Legal Aid NC is up to. They have these wonderful free, totally free, no strings attached webinars, and they have just chock full of great information. So today, Legal Aid of North Carolina, they're going to have a free class on child custody clinic from 2:30 until 4. And this is basically where you learn about child visitation rules and agreements. And just watch the webinar. It starts at 2:30 this afternoon. Okay, and the how-to page, I'll just tell you the title of that, and I'll just leave that there so that you can read about it at your convenience. But, you know, it's super hot this week. So the article this week is, well, this month, how to tell the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. It's so important to know the difference and to know what to do. If someone needs your help, you can literally save lives with this information. So definitely check out the how-to article, how to tell the difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. I also have just some general tips on dealing with heat also. Okay, the last page that we will be visiting today is the Let's Go. That's the calendar of events page. Let's click on that and scroll down to 14. All righty, give me a second. Okay, there's a bunch of things happening today. Let's see. Starting with the Park Veterinary Hospital and Urgent Care. They're having their Park Vet Career Event. So if you always wanted to work with animals and you always wanted to work, you know, like with the veterinarian, with the vet, then today's your day. Until 3 o'clock, you can stop by and learn what it's all about to have a job working around animals and having just that. If you have that nurturing, if you just love animals, you might want to check this out. There's all kinds of different job titles you can check out. I have the link right there so that you can actually see what jobs are available. And again, that is at Park Veterinary Hospital and Urgent Care. This is on Highway 54, and they already started, and they'll be going until 3 o'clock. Okay, New Visions of Africa Restaurant. They will have their grocery giveaway. They do this every Tuesday at 12:30. If you are in need, definitely head over there. They are next door to W.D. Hill on Fayetteville Street, so you can go around and park in the upper lot if you can at W.D. Hill. They don't mind at all. If you're on the 5 or the 5K bus, try to have a rollaway cart because they will give you lots of food. So this is at 12:30 today, New Visions of Africa Restaurant. And then New Visions will be giving away meals, prepared meals from 3 until 6. So if you're hungry and in need, stop by there again between 3 and 6 and get a meal. Okay, I told you about the Public Health Nursing Job Fair from 4:30 until 6:30. So told you about that. Bahama Baptist Church in Bahama, they have their Plastic Bag Ministry. This is on Tuesdays from 5:30 until 6:30. This is where volunteers go in and they somehow crochet mats out of plarn. That's where they tear apart plastic bags and they take the strips and they crochet them into these big mats that they give away to homeless people so they don't have to get dirty just lying right there on the ground. So if you'd like to help out, then you can stop by Bahama Baptist Church in Bahama, and that is from 5:30 until 6:30 every Tuesday. It's Virtual Trivia Tuesday at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. They do this online. It's fun. It's from 6 until 7. It's free, and you can test your knack for remembering science facts and science fiction and current news, that sort of thing. It should be really fun. The Tuesday Blues Jam starts at 7 o'clock at the Blue Note Grill. Super fun. Stop by. If you play guitar or bass, don't bother with your amp. They have amps for you. You can grab the mic, you can sing, just join in. Should be lots and lots of fun. So that's today, starting at 7 o'clock at the Blue Note Grill. Marva's Fun is going to have her Stay Well virtual line dance class from 7 until 8. It's on Zoom and always free. Grab some water real quick. Okay, I think that's it. Wait, let me see. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me give you the weather real quick, and then we will bring on our very, very special guest. And let me get my notes for said guest. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, two more things. I forgot I have a two-pager. I have a two-pager today. Okay, I forgot to check the second page. Okay, real quick. Okay, wait a minute. Where is it? Yes. It'll be Lowe's Grove versus Lewisburg at the American Legion baseball game. It's going to be held at the old ballpark, the historic Durham Athletic Park. That's tonight from 7 until 9. Tickets are $10, and the link is right there on the Let's Go page. Also, CJ Baker Entertainment, they're hosting an open mic and jam session. This is something new. It's going to be happening every Tuesday at the Hayti District Bar. I think that's also new as well. And this is in the Phoenix Crossing Shopping Center. So 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗟 will be the featured artist from 8 to 8:45. Then they're going to have the open mic from 9 until 11, free admission. How about that? Okay, now I'm done. Okay, let's check the weather. It's 82 right now. In fact, let me put on my ceiling fan real quick because I'm starting to feel the heat. Very quickly, bear with me. There we go. It is 82 degrees right now. It's going up to 98. I said that, 98. So it's partly sunny right now. It's going to be cloudy in a few minutes. And then there's going to be like a 50% chance of thunderstorms between 5-ish and 6-ish. Now, tomorrow, it'll be substantially cooler. It's only going up to 93 tomorrow, and it will be partly sunny. Now, let's see if our guest is ready. Are you ready, Khalil? Let me see if he's ready before I bring him on. I think he's ready. Here he is. Okay. So let me tell you who he is first. So 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗟 𝗖𝗜𝗧𝗬 is a fantastic percussionist. He's played with Roberta Flack, Luther Vandross, Roy Hargrove, Dee Dee Bridgewater, a lot of the greats. But he is, I shouldn't speak for him, but I'll bet he's more at home when he's playing his own music because he's working on this special project. The CD is out. I haven't heard it yet, but I heard it's fantastic. So he's going to be here. He's not a Durhamite, but he's going to be in our area playing in Raleigh at Raleigh Founded. This is going to be a Father's Day jazz concert, which is going to be this Saturday. So let's bring him on. 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗟 𝗖𝗜𝗧𝗬. Let's bring him on. 𝗕𝗨𝗟, what's new? Nice to see you here.
Hey, Patricia, how you doing? How you feel?
I'm doing great. Let's give a huge shout out to Muna first because she set this up.
Absolutely. Moon is the best. Moon is the best. And we want to thank Moon also for having the faith to basically produce this event because there's a lot going on. There's going to be a fashion show. There's going to be vendors there. There's going to be a lot of business to support there. And there's going to be, of course, it's a family environment because it's going to be outside and there's going to be a lot of children there. Some of my children will be there. So I'm looking forward to this.
Okay.
Looking forward.
So tell us more about your musical career. I know the last time or the first time I met you and the last time I saw you was here in Durham, and you and some other musicians, what's that saxophone player's name? Was it
Jovan Alexander, maybe?
Yeah. Woo. He's something else.
He's incredible. He's he's doing very well actually now. He's playing for a Broadway play now. It's very interesting. He's like one of the, I think there's only like 2 musicians in the whole play. It's very small cast. and he's the primary instrumentalist that's associated with this play. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it right now, but he's been with them for quite some time now, and I'm very proud of him, very proud of the things he's doing. And last we spoke, I was working on an African record, and then of course that was released in 2018, which is my last record released.
Tell us about that, because when you were telling me about it, I was like, "Oh, I got to hear that." So tell us about this new CD.
Okay, so that CD basically was inspired by the music, at least was inspired by some family death that I had. I had some death in my family, and I had to channel the struggles in dealing with that through music, because that's always my go-to therapeutically and spiritually. And so I immediately went to pen and paper and started writing some things. And then also I had the opportunity to record with a few people at a studio in Brooklyn called THI Studios that was actually run by a gentleman by the name of Bob Hornablue, who was the personal engineer for George Benson.
Ooh, my man.
And Bob, and I didn't know any of this when I was doing the record for the violinist that I was there for, and I also did another record for someone else. But he had saw me come in there a few times with some different artists and record. And so he asked me, he said, "Man, you're fast in the studio. I got to get you over here." And so I'm thinking he's going to call me to do something with another artist there, to do overdubs or something. And I call him and I said, "Yeah, this is Khalil. You gave me your card and you asked me to call you." He said, "Oh yeah, absolutely." He said, "I'm teaching engineering here. And a lot of young people are primarily into Pro Tools because it's computers and it's dealing with, and you know, we're in an age of technology, and so young people are very connected to computers in a very different way than we were when we were younger." And
may I ask, is Pro Tools the computer version of when we see that big gigantic board with all those sliders?
Right, and yeah, well, Pro Tools is actually when you look at the computer screen and you see all the wave files, the stem files that have all the different instruments. What Pro Tools basically enabled us to do was have unlimited tracking. So what does that mean? That means basically in the past we were recording onto tape. And the machines that allowed us to record onto tape were 2-track, 4-track, 8-track, 16-track. And then as time progressed, they started having more tracking capability. And sometimes, so a lot of the records that we heard in the 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, were like 4- and 8-track recordings. We don't know that. Like, you know, sometimes the highest they went maybe 16, maybe 32 if they were like dealing with maybe like a major record label like Motown. But most of those records that we heard in those time periods were recorded on like 80TX scan, which is an 8-track recording device. And I didn't know any of this stuff until I started recording my own records. I never even had the capability of, you know, in school we learned about recording, but we learned about recording onto tape, and we learned more about mixing, and we were mainly concentrating on composition and arranging as musicians.
That's important.
So the person who educated me on all this stuff was one of my mentors and professors who's passed away. His name is Andre Strobert. Andre Strobert had a studio also in Brooklyn where I was doing some recordings for some major labels in the jazz world. And I wanted to do my own project and wasn't given the opportunity. So immediately I started contemplating on whether or not I even wanted to do any sideman work for any people, because I was like, I got all this music that I really want to put out. I was dealing with this instrument called a slap-a-phone that I had came in connection with 8 years after graduating college. So it's like 8 years after I graduated college, I came upon this instrument that intrigued me, and I started writing for it immediately.
I would like to see that. Do you have one in the?
I'm gonna do that. I'm going to bring it all. I'm going to bring that in too. I got it. I got that.
Okay.
I got the CDs to show you all of that stuff. But I just wanted to quickly say, because this is important, it was Andre Strobert who opened the door for me and teaching me how you don't need 1 million tracks to do a record. He said, because at the time when Pro Tools first came out, and we're talking about mid 90s coming into the early 2000s, if you were to go into a studio, the minimum fee that you'd have to pay is $500 an hour. So there weren't any independent records coming out in that time because people were trying to get deals so that they can have the opportunity to record. But deals weren't given out, of course, to so many people. And it's interesting because we've come full circle now. Now in 2022, most people record from home because of technology.
Really?
And how yeah, absolutely. So the average rapper, the average rapper, the average producer, the average musician, the average arranger, composer, they're working out of home. And a lot of times,
Khalil. Okay, hold up now. Hold up. Now you know, and I know you're in New York. Sirens are going by and trucks and stuff. How did you record at home and keep out all this, the police sirens
that's a great question. You got foam, you got foam and more foam. You put the foam on the walls, you put the foam on the ceilings, you put carpeting on the floor, and you isolate. They also have dividers that isolate so that you can, let's say you have a studio apartment. I've seen people do some incredible things with creating home studios. And they have dividers, they have all this foam everywhere, they have shades and foams and blankets on the windows, and that's what keeps the sound out. So you know, necessity is the mother of invention, you know that.
Yeah.
So it's like even in the studio when I recorded my first 2 records, it was with Andre Strobert on an ADTX scan, which is an 8-track system.
Okay.
And again, I didn't know what that was. So when he told me, I told him, I said, look, man, I'm doing these records for these major labels, but I'm not getting the opportunity to record my own music. So Andre said, he said, man, forget them. He said, come to my studio and you can record for $25 an hour. I said, $25 an hour? How is that possible?
Savings.
I said, how is that possible? He said, I record to ADTX scan. I didn't know what that was. But then when I went there to a studio, it was a, very small, vertical machine, reel to reel, and it recorded 8 tracks. So musicians, of course, most of the way we record in regards of instruments, we record rhythm section first. Rhythm section knocks out most of the tracks, and then rhythm section can really be recorded with maybe 4 or 5 tracks. You know what I mean? And then you still have 3 tracks to work with. And then those 3 tracks can be used as overdubs for like a vocalist, maybe a featured soloist, which could be a guitar player or a horn player or anything like that. Or you can put 3 people on 1 mic, and now you have, so let's say you have 3 people doing harmony. You can have 2 or 3 people on 1 mic, and then that will be on 1 track. And so you improvise, and believe it or not, nobody, when my records came out in 2001 and 2003, my first 2 records, nobody knew I recorded that onto 8 track. Everybody was amazed at what I was able to do with that. And I was amazed at what I was able to do because it was the first time that I didn't have unlimited tracking. Because when I was doing records for major labels, everything was on computer and Pro Tools was the primary thing. Now you have other companies that are just as popular as Pro Tools, but Pro Tools is the major one. So that's how I was able to get my first 2 records out. And then that Bob Hornablue gentleman came in my life later after I had completed 6 records. No, 7. Yeah, 7 records. So 7 after 7 records deep, then I'm working on my 8th record, but not really thinking about how it's going to come out. And then he tells me about this. He says we allow musicians to record here for free in order for me to teach my students engineering.
That's a nice
So he was
deal.
teaching his students how to mic drums, how to mic organs, how to mic how to go direct with keyboards and guitars, which mics to use for vocalists, which mics to use for horn players. He was teaching them all of that stuff, how to change the reel. Yeah, it was an incredible class. Unfortunately, it had to fold because he didn't have a high enrollment. But I believe my record might have
in New York.
In New York, yeah, because what you have to remember when he was doing this, we're talking about 2017, 2016. Yeah. Now, in the age of 2017, 2016, like I said, you got young people 16, 15, 14, 13 years old recording tracks in their home with just a keyboard and a laptop. That's it. Yeah, and they're doing like whole production.
Learn how to do it.
Say that one more time.
I would think they still want to know how to do it.
You know what though?
I mean, like the big boys, you know.
Oh yeah, no, I would think that they would want to do it too. And I gave credit for one of his students that was with him during my recording. I gave him credit on the CD as well because I was so pleased with his ability to, you know, I after we recorded onto reel to reel, which is what he was teaching his students, then that same student had to transfer it to Pro Tools, to computer, so that I can edit it somewhere else.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So the initial
was there any degradation of sound?
No. So that's an excellent question. So technically, tape has a warmer sound than computer. Technically.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like so, when you talk to artists, a lot of times they'll say, well, you know, we initially recorded it on tape to get that warmer sound. It's hard to explain. It's just a technicality in audio. You know, when you have something like a tape and you hear the sound of a tape, even you know, those of us who can remember the sound of a cassette tape, the hissing of a cassette tape, the crackling of an album. These are things that we were used to listening to that came along with the music. Right. And then of course, as studios became more technologically savvy, you started having situations where they can mute all that stuff out, so that all you're hearing is direct sound from the instrument or direct sound. And but the disadvantage to that is sometimes it's so direct and it's so
too clean.
Perfect.
It's like too clean.
Yeah. Right. That's something about that slight hiss or something about that slight crackle let you know that this was really happening.
Distortion sometimes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So you know, it's interesting when we think about, you know, recording in that way. I've learned so much about studio recording now. It took me 5 years to release that record that I was working on. And one of the reasons why it took me so long is because once I recorded the music, I realized that the music really wasn't lending itself towards improvisation as much as it was music that should be sung upon.
Okay.
And so, but I didn't want to hear English, and I wanted to pay homage to the original music that I started playing with before I learned any genres of music, which was African music. I believe the last time we spoke, I mentioned that my first exposure to music was at 2 years old with my father with African drumming. My father was studying with a gentleman by the name of 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗟 𝗖𝗓𝗓, who brought the djembe in this country in 1958. When 𝗕𝗨𝗟𝗓 first came here, we had all of these people in New York who had heard about a group called Les Ballets Africains. As a matter of fact, if you ask Bradley Simmons, who's where y'all are, he can tell you a lot about Les Ballets Africains and Jolie by Nationality. He can tell you a lot about Ladji, because he was one of those people, like my father, like my uncle, like so many people, who was influenced by Ladji's presence here. Ladji was before Olatunji. Olatunji had a big impact too.
Yeah, because I thought he was the first guy.
No, Olatunji, and it's ironic because Olatunji really wasn't a musician in Africa. In Africa, he became a musician here because he saw that the arts was something that, you know, he can thrive with.
Okay.
And that he could have an impact on, because the interest in African culture was so strong in the late 60s, early 70s, that it was, if you were coming here as an African, African Americans gravitated towards you because they wanted to learn more about your country, your culture. They wanted to learn where your spirit was, where your consciousness was. And these were the times that I grew up, the late 60s coming into the 70s. And then the 80s was my teenage years, is when I started really making a connection of it all.
Okay.
And where I started.
I have to give Tachi a shout out. She's making some wonderful comments. So I just wanted to say hello to Tachi. She's watching on the Facebook side. And she is right about YouTube University. People self-taught nowadays. And she's also pointing out that Olatunji was her friend's uncle. So that's him.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. No,
she's in Florida. Yeah.
Oh, she's in Florida. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome. One of the guitar players on my last record, Huey Cox, was a musical director for Olatunji for many years.
Cool.
And there were a few other musicians that I know who got a chance to work with him. I got a chance to rehearse with him because he used to come to rehearse at Harlem School of the Arts when I was working there as an employee. Okay. And Harlem School of the Arts is like home for me because that's also where I studied classical music from 15 to 17. So for 3 years, when I first came to Harlem School of the Arts, I had been studying classical already for three years. My mother had put me in an institution called Bloomingdale House of Music in the Upper West Side. And then I also was part of Drummers Collective, where they taught you a lot of rudimental stuff, mostly on a drum set and also various percussion instruments. But it was primarily within a classical context. I didn't really start making money as a musician until I was 15. And the person who was responsible for that was Francis Rhymes and Max Bertrand. Francis Rhymes is one of the original Katherine Dunham dancers. She's about,
I know that.
She could be 90 now. Yeah, she could be 90 now, if I'm not mistaken. But she's doing very well. I'm extremely loyal to that woman because she was the first person who believed in my ability. I had been drumming with my father and uncle on many gigs and learning many rhythms and learning many things from young. And, but I didn't get paid as a musician until I started playing for dance classes when I was 15. And that was because of Miss Rhymes. I basically snuck in her class and saw a drummer playing there playing two congas. And I asked if I can play the low one to give him some body. And when I started playing with him, she stopped the class and she thought I was disrupting the class. And she said, do you belong here? I said, yes, ma'am, I do. She said, are you a student here? I said, yes, ma'am. She said, come with me. I said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. First day of school. So I go over there and then she says, Mr. Bertram, is this gentleman here? Does he belong here? And he says, oh, yes, that's Mr. Bell. He's one of our students that just joined us. And then she says, okay, I like the way he drums. I want to give him a check. He needs to get paid for what he does. And she leaves the room. And so then he's looking at me. He's like, wow. And then I'm looking like, what? A check?
Well, she has spoken.
Huh? Say it again. What'd you say?
She has spoken.
Oh yeah, she has spoken, and that's she's old school. Whoa. So that's she reminds me a lot of my both my grandmothers. Just saying very few words, being strictly about business, being very serious about family, very serious about keeping family together, galvanize people. You can't talk around her because she's seen it all. She's seen so much, and when I would talk to her sometimes about movies like Cabin in the Sky or another movie like Stormy Weather, where Katherine Dunham was actually featured with some of her dancers, she says, oh yeah, she could point out some of the people that she danced with in that time.
Oh, because I've seen that movie. I didn't realize that I was watching Katherine Dunham.
Oh yeah, Katherine Dunham. When Lena Horne is actually singing the song Stormy Weather, the camera pans to a gentleman walking past a woman who's standing in the rain. And has this little thing that he's doing. And then those are the Katherine Dunham dancers. And then eventually it pans out to another. It's a very, very, very well put together movie for that time. The Nicholas brothers. Oh, it's phenomenal. It's fun. In that time, Black artistry was on just an extreme high level, and there was no mediocrity when it comes to, you couldn't be corny, you couldn't be trying to, you had to be strong in your craft. You had to be very strong in your craft to get people to be interested in whether or not you were serious. And I love watching those movies for that reason. I love watching the Nicholas brothers when they were younger. I love watching Bill Bill Bojangles. I love watching him. I love watching, even going back to the 80s, watching Gregory Hines and his brother dance together.
Hines and Dad.
Oh yeah, I mean this classic stuff. I for me, art is a whole. It's not entertainment; it's culture, and it's communal. Whether it's coming from Africa, Cuba, you know, anywhere of the African diaspora, it's always dealing with. It's always dealing with communal, bringing people together, people exchanging, and of course it exists in our culture as well.
So are you somehow going to bring all of this to Raleigh this Saturday?
Oh yeah. So first, the record that we talked about, our last interview, is here. This is the one. It's called Homeland. So let me see if I can get that centered. So that's the cover. That's what the cover looks like. Some of the
picture too.
Oh, thank you. I have a great story about the photographer who took that picture too. He's a phenomenal individual. But that's a whole nother story. I don't want to get too long-winded. This is the music. We'll be playing a lot of music from this record. This was my third CD, which was a combination of the first and second CD. Back in my first 5 CDs, I had a band that consisted of some great musicians. I had my first violinist on my first record was Gwen Laster, and then on my second record it was Christian Howes, and then Christian Howes introduced me to Alan Grubner, another violinist. And I liked violin because using violin in a jazz kind of context where you're improvising and stuff is interesting because violinists who really solo strongly tend to be exposed to a lot of different kinds of genres, like violin music where it's soloing a lot. You'll hear it a lot in bluegrass, you'll hear it in country western, you'll hear it in klezmer music, you'll hear it in Eastern Indian music. You'll hear
and salsa,
violin,
like Alfredo de la Fe.
And salsa, exactly. So, but you have to have the musicians who have played all of this, who have basically had accessibility to all of these genres, because a lot, you know, within all of these genres, you know, it's cliquish like anything else. And so you have to know somebody to put you in, and then that's how you're exposed to that particular genre. The only reason why I was able to play as many genres as I did was because I came in through circles of people. So some people knew me in the dance world as far as drumming with dancers. Some people knew me in the jazz world, who, you know, from playing at clubs in like Harlem and Lower Manhattan. And some of people knew me from records that I had done, you know, when I was very young. And so that kind of helped establish my validity as a musician. And then, of course, when I started documenting my own music, because this record right here, it was really recorded by my saxophone player at the time, Craig Rivers. And Craig Rivers and I have known each other since, well, long time, too long. And he's one of somebody who I really love deeply, not only as a musician, but as a person. He's a beautiful spirit of a person. He's playing primarily now with Steve Kroon's band. Steve Kroon was the percussionist for Luther Vandross for many years. And Craig's been for quite, you know, a number of years. But Craig was featured. The last appearance that Craig did on any of my recordings was he recorded lastly on my 5th record, Inner Thoughts. And we're playing 2 songs from that record also.
Good.
So I'm going to let you just hear a little bit of the slapperphone just so that you can get a chance. The slapperphone basically is a melodic tubular percussion instrument. So when people say,
I gotta see.
Okay, so we got on the instrument, we got about 9 pitches, and it's pretty much a pentatonic scale in G and C and in B flat. So we have the G, we have the B flat, we have a C, a D, a F, a G, a B flat, a C, and then we have a low F sharp or G flat. And so these are the only notes that I have on this instrument. but
Okay.
it's because of the Eastern pentatonic sound of it. That's what attracted me to the instrument first. Because I play a lot of different percussion instruments on a lot of people's records and stuff. And I play melodic percussion instruments as well as, you know, like kalimbas and I play different drums that are pitched as well. But this is
what is this made out of? Because it sounds like it reminds me of a balafon.
Yes, yeah, that's a great yeah. So it is wood.
Okay.
And it has wood, but it also has CVC pipe. So CVC pipe is the same piping that is used for plumbing like it's like a hard plastic that is used in plumbing for sinks. The only musicians that I know that are playing this instrument as continuously as I am is the Blue Man Group. And everybody pretty much knows the Blue Man Group. They were innovative enough to actually have their own studio on Lafayette, right across from, what is the name of that theater? That theater on Lafayette. That's not coming to me right now. But they've been there for quite some time on Lafayette. They've had their own theater for quite some time, and they do, whenever they're not on the road, they perform a lot at their own theater. And I think that was a smart investment to take their money and invest in having their own theater, so that they don't have to worry about looking for gigs all the time. They can just perform in their own place. Another person
those mallets look different.
Yeah, they are. So just to tell you a little bit about the mallets have this rubber thing on the end of it, and this rubber is made out of the same material as flip-flops that you might wear going to a beach. Awesome. So it's glued onto the wood, and it's circular because the top of the instrument is circular. I'll just show you the top of the instrument here, if you can see it.
Oh.
And then you can also see like how tall it is and stuff like that. And I came across this instrument at a place called Drummer's World, which was a percussion shop in New York across the street from Machiko Studios. It's closed now. It kind of went out of business when people started buying from the internet. Many businesses closed. Yeah. Once people started buying from the internet, it kind of put a lot of businesses folded because they didn't have the foot traffic that they previously had before that. But I used to rehearse a lot at Machiko Studios with different artists, and while I was waiting to, I would always show up early, and then I would go to Drummers Collective. Drummers World to look at instruments, just check them out. And when I heard this instrument, I just fell in love with it immediately, and then started writing right away. So one of the songs that you will hear is a song called Gift of Forgiveness. I wrote this in 1999.
Okay.
And I recorded it 2000. And some of the people that were featured on that record were Daryl Hall, Dwayne Eubanks, Luis Perdomo, Richie Goods was also, I believe, on that record. Sam Newsom, Ada Dyer, who I worked with Roberta Flack in 96 and 97. She's featured on that record with Anthony Mills. Anthony Mills was one of the graduating vocalists who was in the class with Jason Moran and Stefan Harris.
Okay.
And all these phenomenal musicians. I met
Stefan Harris, yeah. He came to campus. Stefan Harris visited North Carolina Central University some years ago.
Oh yeah. No, I got a million memories of so many phenomenal musicians. I remember when Eric Lewis and Stefan Harris were roommates. This is before Stefan Harris got married. This is before Eric Lewis became EU or EL, whatever he has like an acronym name now.
Okay.
But these guys are phenomenal. But I'll just play a little bit of the instrument so you can get a chance to hear it.
Good.
That's it.
Ooh, I like that.
All right. Now you're gonna see it on the 8th.
I gotta
On the
ask, though.
18th. Excuse me. Say it again. One more time.
So when you're recording,
Mhm.
do you mic it where the mallet hits the top of the instrument, or at the bottom where the sound comes out?
Right. That's an excellent question. The sound is really on the top of the instrument, just like the same way you would mic a vibraphone or a marimba.
Oh.
So
okay.
a vibraphone and a marimba, even though they do have pipes underneath for resonation, where it's struck upon is struck upon the top part. So you have these turners that are right underneath the where all of the pitches are laid out, all of the pieces of the instrument are laid out. You have these things that turn underneath, these turners, and then that helps give the vibraphone resonation and helps it to have like long notes, longer tonality. And because I don't really have that capability with this, but what I do have, there are cylinder chips in each tube at a different height, and that's what creates the different pitches. So because those chips are pushed down deep into the instrument, and the only way that I could change the instrument, which I would never do, is to stick something in it to move that chip, but I would never do that because I take the risk of damaging the instrument. So I kind of just continue to write with the pitches that are given to me from the instrument. And that's one of the uniqueness. That's one of the unique aspects of the instrument itself.
Well, I sure hope, after seeing the slapperphone, I really hope that they treat it well. Your trip from New York to North Carolina, I can't imagine how you packed that thing.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. It's what's going to be interesting is packing it up with all the other instruments in the car with the other musicians.
You can only just play that.
And we're all coming together. I mean, some of my band members are already down there. Jeremy Bean Clemens is in Chapel Hill. We have a poet that'll be with us. He's a guest artist. He'll be performing on 2 songs. And my saxophone player is from England. My guitar player has family down there, so he'll be coming down early. And then his family will be coming. He's got about 10 people coming on that, so that'll be wonderful. And then I have a young pianist that I just met who's doing his last year at the New School. I just met him with bass player named Sabu. Huh?
See, I know about New School. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's great. He's learning. He's actually studying with Reggie Workman. Reggie Workman was the bass player for John Coltrane.
Yeah.
So Reggie's phenomenal bass player, phenomenal musician, phenomenal conceptualist, and a beautiful spirit once again. And his daughter, Miyoko Workman, is just as beautiful as him. And she was featured playing cello. She's a cellist. She played cello on my 5th record. So Miyoko Workman is and then it's interesting. On my 2nd record, George Farmer, whose father is Art Farmer.
I know who that is.
Well, his son, who was pretty much raised in Austria, who, when you listen to him speak, he sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger because they're from the same country.
That's fine.
But he, he looks, like a black man in New York. You know what I mean? He's a phenomenal musician. He's really doing things on the Broadway scene now, very strong. But when he was when he first came to New York, he was just working in various bands, and we did some things together, some like young jazz lion gigs where they put together bands of young musicians and saw how it worked out. We did like a week at the
Older like his dad? He played
very different from his father. Very different from his father, because his father played trumpet, he plays bass. So he's made his own mark. You know what I mean? Very, very similar to Oliver Lake playing alto saxophone and Gene Lake playing drums, and Kim Lake singing And Sundance, Oliver's DJ son, who works with Michelle and Daniel Cello and works with Robert Glasper now as well. So, I mean, you have children of very well-known jazz musicians who have kind of made their own mark. It's like they say, okay, well, you know, my dad does this, but I love music because I've been around my dad, but I'm also loving music as far as creating my own persona within this genre.
Absolutely.
And Gene Lake and all of them. And now I'm old enough to have seen the children become adults of some incredible people. Balo Goon, one of the original drummers of Chuck Davis, passed away many years ago.
Yeah.
He had 2 children. He had a daughter who was a dancer, and he had a son who's a drummer. Now they're the primary executive producers of most of the music within a group called Bambara, which is headed by Joe Barnes. This is drum and dance world. Okay. But I've known them since they were small children, and I knew their father before he passed, but I was very young then. But I'm very pleased to have seen, you know, some of these things. Various musicians like, let's say, Poogie Bell's son, who's also doing very well. I'm following his son on Facebook. His son's record is doing quite well. And Poogie, I've known Poogie for quite some time, back when he was working with Erykah Badu, because I worked with Erykah Badu after him with a bigger group. But he's part of that first establishment of her band, quote unquote, where she just had keyboards, bass, and drums. And Poogie's a phenomenal pocket drummer, incredible drummer, period. And he worked also with Marcus Miller, but his son is an incredible tenor saxophonist, and he's young, very young. I mean, it's incredible. I can go on and on with musicians' children who are like. Well, you know,
I'm at that stage as well, where I am not a musician, but what I mean is I am enjoying the music of artists whose parents I grew up with listening to.
Right.
You know, so I was unaware of these, Reggie Workman's child, and I was unaware of these musicians that you're talking about. So I'm definitely going to look them up.
Oh yeah,
but
definitely
I'm
look up
more like pop and Brazilian, where I am listening to artists whose parents I grew up listening to. So I have to check out the jazz folk you're talking about.
Yeah, there's so many now. I mean, you have Wallace Roney, who passed recently. His brother Anton Roney, Wallace Roney's son, is playing trumpet just like his father. Sounds phenomenal. You have John Coltrane's son, Robbie Coltrane, who's been around for a long time. He's playing. You have Wallace Roney's nephew, Kojo Roney, who is his brother and Anton Roney's son, who's playing drums, pile of drums. When I first heard him at about maybe 8, 9 years old, it was like listening to a young Tony Williams. It was phenomenal.
Whoa! And he started when he was like 17. Yeah.
Huh?
I said, yeah. Tony started early at like 17 himself.
Right. Exactly. But it's interesting when every parent loves their child and talks so highly of their children. But then when you as an outsider meet the child, and the child is everything the parents said and more, you're like, whoa, okay, I got you. It's like, well, that's the way I felt about Spike Lee's little brother. I did a record with Bill Lee. Bill Lee had a younger son, not by Spike Lee's mom, but later on, because Spike Lee's mom passed, and Bill Lee remarried. And Bill Lee has a young son who plays alto. I can't even remember his name. This has been a lot of years since I've seen that young man, but he's a grown man now. But when we did a record together with arrangements by Bill Lee, that young man was playing so much alto. It was scary. It's just scary because he was the only kid in the studio. We had all these elders, and then I'm not that young. And I'm looking at him. I'm looking at that young man and saying, how does he have all this information? And, he's grown up in music, grown up in it his whole life. It's a language for him. Yeah. And it's not, he's reading, but he's internalizing. which is another level of musicianship. Once you know, a lot of people who go to music schools to study, you know, you can read, and that's wonderful that you can read, you learn that language, but when you can internalize what you read and then give your personality within what you've just read, then that's when the music takes another shape. Sure. And he's got it. He's got it.
Absolutely. I'll be looking out for him as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
so let's invite the audience to check you out, Ká'lyl Kwame Bell and Friends. This is going to be in Raleigh, at Raleigh Founded. The address I have here is 2409 Crabtree Boulevard, from 3 until 5. And tickets are ranging from 25 to 125.
Right. Because there's so much other stuff going on. So it's like, if you want to see the band and you want to be part of the fashion show and you want to spend a certain amount of money with certain vendors, that's the reason why that price scale is like that. But if you're just coming for the music, that's one price. So it all depends on, once you go to get your ticket, it'll give you choices about what all of the various things that are happening there. And it'll be on the so one more time.
Yeah. The link will be on the Let's Go page for those who are wanting to attend. Yeah.
Okay.
So I appreciate you coming on the show, Ká'lyl. It's a pleasure talking to you again.
I appreciate it. Big shout out to Muna once again. Absolutely. Muna Mujahid, thank you for all of the work you put in, for all of the focus you have, for all of the faith you have, and so many people. I mean, she's just, everybody knows her as a person who is a person who supports your dream. Like if you got a dream, she's trying to help you get to it. And I have that too. I'm very much like that. I'm not one of those people.
She moved out of Durham. She had to do what she had to do.
Well, you know what though? She's still close by. She still gets it. She comes to Durham all the time. So even though she moved out, she's in Roxborough. But I mean, you know, she has a lot of friends in Durham, a lot of connections, and she's done so much in Durham that it was inevitable that she would eventually be doing some things in other places, in neighboring towns. And so she's going to be doing something on her property eventually, because you know, she has enough property and she's contemplating doing some things there already. She has various times where she sells a lot of African art, sells a lot of African fabric, a lot of African clothing, a lot of books. She has she has a lot of stuff to offer to people that are interested in learning about African culture, whether it's music, whether it's fashion, whether and of course she's a loctician. So, you know, so, you know, learning all of that and explaining to people the things that you do to your hair to keep it from getting brittle, to keep it from falling out. These are important things, because a lot of times when people are locking their hair, once it starts getting really long, sometimes they forget to oil the scalp, and they forget to use certain shampoos that don't dry your scalp. And so these are important things because as your hair gets longer, your hair needs moisturization. And it's got to be certain things,
nutrients and all that.
Yeah, nutrients, exactly. And so Moon is very knowledgeable of all of that stuff. She'll tell you what stuff to get and where to get it from. There's not too many, you know, some people will just tell you, oh, okay, go to the hair salon or go to this hair store and buy this product. And they're really just buying that because it's a popular product. But, you know, Muna can tell you about the different things, the reason why you use this herb, the reason why you use this oil, the reason why you use this plant is because, like, she can get into detail because that's her thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. She can also be just as equally as verbal about things that she does with food. A lot of people talk about, well, eating healthy is so expensive. Yeah, if you're going to places that are charging expensively. But one of the things that I talk to people about is you have to find first the supermarket that is charging affordable food. Places like Aldi's and Lidl's and these places where you can buy a loaf of bread for 99 cents or $1 and some change. And or where you can get, fresh vegetables and frozen things like frozen salmon and frozen salmon burgers and tilapia fish and all these things for like $6. And basically that's not expensive when you think about salmon or when you think about tilapia or any other. They have seafood. They got all kinds of stuff in that supermarket. And I ever since I found out about Aldi's, I don't even shop at ShopRite, Food Town. All those places are overpriced to me, way overpriced, especially.
And once you really start cooking for yourself, you can save a lot of money as well.
Absolutely. And cooking for yourself is very important, right? Yeah. And it's hard though. So for some people, they don't have the time because they're working, and then when they come home, they're dealing with the children, and so it's hard. So some of the things that speed up the cooking, I just started using an air fryer like this year, and I had it for a few years.
Yes,
those
air fryer, crock pot, pressure cooker.
I'm loving the air fryers. And one of the people that I always watch on Facebook, Ivan Hampton, a drummer who used to play for Luther, he'll sometimes post these incredible dishes that he makes at home in his air fryer, and it's like he'll post this. Oh, it's phenomenal. And I'm looking at it like, man, this guy could be a chef, because he's putting like he's got like grilled chicken and chicken breast and cut up peppers, yellow peppers, red peppers, green peppers, and it's all sauteed, sauteed in a pan and then he's very serious about that. And so I love seeing artists make food because they create with food the same way they create music. So it's nice.
That all goes together, doesn't it? Just living a creative life. Just living a creative life is the best.
Absolutely. It keeps you alive, it keeps me alive. A lot of people will, because now, I have grown children. I'm a grandfather now. So my second born gave me my grandchild 2 years ago. So she's going to be 3 this year.
Okay.
So she's
so are you Baba, Granddad, Pop? Are you Baba, Granddad, or Pop? Or what?
What does she call me? Yeah, she calls me Pop sometimes. But she doesn't. She's still kind of because my son-in-law, his mother and his father, they work from home a lot. So they're home a lot, and I'm away a lot at nights, especially. And the time that I can spend time with her is usually in the daytime sometimes, but my daughter's working. So the schedule's trying to hook up with my granddaughter's like this major production. But then when we do hook up, we have great fun. And we all were just recently together because my oldest just got her master's in education.
Sweet.
So we were all here for that. My mother came here from Durham, and she spent some time with us here, and we had a wonderful time. It was really we did a lot. We spent a lot of time with each other. My mother cooked a lot, which was really nice. And I can't pick up that air fryer enough, because I kept staring at it, looking at the box, saying, I gotta use that thing. I kept saying that for like 2 years.
Yeah, I just got one.
Yeah, it's different. It's different, because once you stop using that microwave and you start dealing with the air fryer, it's so easy to clean. It's very helpful in cooking things like potatoes, chicken, fish, wings. It's fast. It's very fast. You're really not cooking longer than an hour with most things you cook from there. And so I've cooked potatoes, fish, and chicken mostly, and I also have these vegan burgers that I get also from Aldi's, and I cook those in there too. I'm loving that Bella air fryer, loving it.
I got you.
I know I'm doing a commercial for them. They ain't gonna send me no money, but
hey, it adds a lot to life.
Oh, it's for people who are pressed with time. You come off work. You got to do homework with the child. You do homework with the child. You got to do the laundry. You got to do the laundry. You got to put the kid to bed. You got to do all these things. And then before you put the kid to bed, you got to make some food. And it's like before you know it, okay, I need to get this child in bed by 9 o'clock. You're telling yourself that in the mind. What can I cook fast? Throw those frozen chicken breasts inside that air fryer. 25 minutes. It's done.
Good to go.
good to go. So yeah, that's enough for talking about that. But I will see you hopefully this Saturday.
On Saturday. Okay, Khalil. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I will have the links so that people can attend. And I just wish you the best.
Thank you.
I really do.
And I appreciate you.
Drop by
thank you so much.
anytime.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Have a wonderful day.
Okay. Take care.
Okay. Bye-bye.
That was so fun. What a great show. So Khalil, much love. Muna, much love again. So that's pretty much it for today's show. If you could share it out so that more people can know what's happening in Durham and obviously in Raleigh this coming Saturday for Khalil Kwame Bell and Friends concert. Definitely check out Durham Skywriter. Now, I'm going to be back tomorrow at noon. You can drop by. I always encourage people to click on that link on the Facebook side to join me on camera to promote yourself as Khalil did beautifully. And with that, I'll just say have a beautiful day. See you tomorrow at noon for Bull City Hangout. Ciao for now.